everybody. Welcome to Snipes and Stripes. It's another Wednesday, and we are here on nofilter.net. Again, another great week of hockey. A lot to talk about. I got my partner in crime, Mr. Tim Peel. He is the Stripes part of our show, Snipes and Stripes. Peelsy, how you feeling this week? You're looking good, man. The black shirt looking just sharp tonight.
It's slimming. It's slimming, JR. If somebody told me once, if you can't tan it or if you can't tone it, tan it. Okay, so
that's so funny. I always say fat tan is better than white tan, or white tan fat is better than white fat. That's right.
You can't tone it, tan it.
That's so good. I love it.
So you got a bunch of whiskey behind you.
Let me start up real quick. So we got a great show, obviously sponsored by My Whiskey in the Wild, which you see behind me, and I will always be drinking it. I am actually coming to you from New Hampshire, from the Chop House. They're nice enough to host me here in New Hampshire while I'm doing a whiskey tour. So thank you to the Chop House here in Manchester, New Hampshire. One of the best steaks I've ever had. So if you're in New Hampshire and Manchester, come to the Chop House. And also Bet Online. What a great sponsor that we have now, Peelsy. One of the best places to put your bets in. Now that the NBA is off and rolling and college basketball is just ready to go as well, Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, and NHL are all in full swing, and Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, and predictions. All the hoops betting action, along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile devices at access at any time. So head to Bet Online today and remember to use our promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus at your first deposit. Remember, it's Bet Online where the game starts. What a great sponsor we have with Bet Online, eh, Tim?
They're fantastic. They're a tremendous company to go through. But you're making me look bad, Jared, because when I've read that the last couple of weeks, I got to put my cheaters on. I don't know what you're. I don't like it. I don't like it because I know we're the same age. So.
Well, my eyes are still working pretty good, but we have a great sponsor. So we thank Bet Online for that. Last week, we were terrible with our bets. We both lost our bets last week. So this week we have to make amends. We will give our picks of our Thursday picks at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. We have a great show for you tonight. Teemu Selanne, one of the best players in the history of the game, is going to join us in a little while to give us some feedback on what's going on with his Ducks right now. We want to talk about what's going on with them. They had an unbelievable road trip. A little bit about his career and maybe dabble into his golf game. That's going to be a great guest, isn't it, Peelsy?
Fantastic. Teemu was just first of all, you see him now on TV if he's doing an interview or whatever. The guy looks like he's aging like a nice bottle of red wine. He looks fantastic. I'm so envious. I don't know what his secret is, but he looks fantastic. He was one of the best players to ever play this game. We'll get into his stats and so on later, but what an honor to have him on our show. And when he was tough, when I refereed him, buddy, he was a competitor. He wanted to win, and he grinded me every game. So we're looking forward to that.
I can't wait to hear some of those stories. But let's get off and roll in. I think it would be really remiss if we didn't start with the tragic news of Mr. Johnson passing away with an unfortunate skate incident in the game over in the British League. Just a tremendous loss for the hockey world. And every player feels it. Every referee feels it. Every person that's been associated with the game, regardless if you knew this fine young gentleman. It was a crazy, crazy play. There's a lot going on behind this play. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of banter. But I want to get your thoughts. First of all, our thoughts and condolences go out to the Johnson family, to his fiance. We want them to know that the whole hockey world is grieving with them. That we will pray for them, and we want to make sure that we say that first and foremost before we start breaking down the incident. But I'll let you start off with this one, Peelsy.
No, it's well said, JR. Adam Johnson, a young man, unfortunately, just a bad accident, a bad play that went bad. but as much as that family right now is grieving, I'm hoping something good can come out of this. And that is that neck guards are mandated for all leagues around the world. It boggles my mind. For example, my son wears one here in St. Louis. He's on a team. We're going to Chicago this weekend for a tournament. It's a rule on our team that he wears a neck guard. I went on USA Hockey's website, and it blew me away that I just thought it was a given that it was a rule that all youths had to wear one. And then I read it, and it's highly recommended. So what bothers me about that, and it's not to beat up on USA Hockey, but maybe I am, but Teddy Balkin was a sophomore in Greenwich, Connecticut last year, and he died from a skate accident as well. And I know they had 130,000 signatures on a petition to USA Hockey to get them to change this rule to make it mandatory, and that didn't get it changed. And so, as tragic as this is, maybe something good can come out of it, JR.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're never going to be too protected, and you're never going to be protected enough, right? Because you never know what's going to work and what's not going to work. There are some people that will probably say a neck guard would not have saved Adam Johnson because of where this skate hit his body. But that doesn't mean that you don't put neck guards on. I had to wear a neck guard when I was in junior.
Right.
That was a mandatory Quebec major junior rule in 1988, 89 that was very, very unliked by the players, and it didn't last.
It would have been controversial back then, and you know what? You guys would have been made fun of by the Ontario Hockey League players in the Western League.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I don't think players can be protected enough. So for me, it doesn't bother me that neck guards will be mandatory if and where they are, whichever league. Each league is going to react to it differently. But I would love to hear your take on the situation. I would love to hear your take on the play, because there's a lot of talk going on right now about charging him for murder, that the investigators are looking into this. There's a little bit more than just a freak accident on the ice. And I'm kind of interested to hear your take on the play.
Well, you know what? I personally, listen, the player that hit him, he didn't mean to kill him. Let's get one thing straight here. He didn't mean to kill Adam Johnson.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Let's get that straight right off the bat. I've watched it a couple times. I think he kicked it. He whipped his foot around to kick him, maybe in the head, but I don't even know if he did that. Like, listen, I didn't play at that high level, buddy. I don't know. Like, I don't know how your body contorts. You get hit, you spin around. I don't want to pile on this young man, because I can tell you right now, he feels, I can't even imagine what this guy's going through. So you may have a different view, but I don't think he did. He didn't. I
have a different view.
He didn't do it on purpose, JR. You can't.
I'm kind of speechless at the fact that he didn't do it on purpose. Yes, he did do it on purpose. He did try to make contact on purpose. He did try to do something to stop Adam Johnson from entering the zone on purpose. That's the game of hockey. But it's usually with a hit. It's usually with a body check. It's usually putting yourself in a situation where you are defending a player, where you use a hockey-taught move. There is nothing in what this player did that was a hockey move. There is nowhere from the day you start learning hockey and learning how to skate, does a coach teach you to kick your skate up to somebody's face. There's not even a hockey rule that teaches a player to kick his foot up to the waist of a player. Now, usually when the skates come up, it's because they've been hip checked or they fly over somebody and the skates start wheeling. But that wasn't the situation in this case. This was a kid that was skating past him and realized that he wasn't going to get the piece of him. So in the last second, he decided to lift his leg and do a karate kick style move, which has no place in the National Hockey League, has no place in hockey. It is not a natural hockey move. And whatever made this gentleman do this sort of move to impede Adam Johnson, not only is wrong, it's tremendously dangerous because we do have lethal blades on our feet. But then he comes in and does this, and we already know he's one of the most penalized players in the whole league. We already know he has a dirty side to him, and he does something like this. Did he mean to kill him? Obviously not. He didn't have intentions of killing this person. There's no question. But there's a lot of places in this world where people kill other people by accident and didn't mean to do it because they made a stupid judgment decision.
Yep.
And a lot of those people go to jail for involuntary manslaughter, for second degree murder, which is unplanned, right? People go to prison or go to jail for making decisions that are wrong, that are bad, that end up costing somebody's life. And that's what happened here. This gentleman who is heavily penalized, one of the most heavily penalized players in the league, did something that is not part of the game. It is not taught in hockey. We never see it in hockey, and it ended up costing somebody's life. Now, should he go to prison? This is a very weird and very tough part about these decisions in sports, that if you can put people in prison for somebody dying on a freak accident on the ice. However, what I do think should happen to this player is I think he should be banned from any kind of hockey for the rest of his life in any league, because there has to be some sort of repercussion, consequence for making a decision, and a decision that was so outside the lines of this game, that are so out of bounds in terms of the teachings of the game. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that you don't kick a blade up near somebody's face. You don't have to have an education to understand that. And if there is no repercussions of the fact that they should ban this player, lights went out, that they should ban this player, then I don't know what is. You talk, I'll turn the lights back on.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's very well said what you just stated, JR. And I can't argue with you on the fact that it was reckless. It was, I don't know if it was deliberate, but to your point, I've never seen a play like that in my life where a guy's been checked and he kicks his head.
But what's the definition of deliberate? He knew where he was. He wasn't pushed. He wasn't tripped. He saw where the player was. That was a deliberate move. He made the decision deliberately to throw his
I guess what I'm saying is he obviously didn't deliberately want to kill the guy.
Well, okay. Well, let's be very, very clear with your words, because this is a very, very sticky, very tough situation, Peelsy. Yes, we already made the distinction. He didn't try to kill this person.
Was it?
But he did make a deliberate movement. That's not a hockey movement. Did he not?
No, I do agree with you. I think it's very well said. I think, to your point, he probably shouldn't play hockey again. I don't know if his head would be straight to ever play hockey again. It's in for the Johnson family, I can't even imagine what they're going through. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think the kid should go to prison for this. He's going to pay a big enough price. Yes, I understand what you said about people go to prison for involuntary manslaughter and so on, but I think the young man's going to pay a big enough price with the demons he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life.
There's something to be said about that. I see that. I mean, and you're being very gracious. I do agree. I'm sure this kid feels terrible. I'm sure it feels terrible. But there comes a time when a statement has to be made on things that happen in sports, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and I do believe that this player has lost his, especially because we do know what kind of player he is. He is the most penalized player in the league. He's lost his opportunity to play.
And I think what this has showed us, JR, is that in the last 15 months, we've had 2 players killed by a skate blade, and not taken away from when you played and back this game is fast now. This game is
so fast.
And I think that contributes to a lot of it. I go to high school games. I go to college games here in St. Louis. I cannot believe how fast these players are. You see it. So maybe because of the speed of the game, maybe this is going to happen more frequently, and we've got to adjust as a hockey society and say, hey, I know it's not cool to wear a neck guard. The first thing I would do when I'd get my helmet at training camp, I'd take the ear tabs off because I thought they looked stupid. We all wanted to go out there. We all wanted to go out there and have this look. And Thomas Plekanec, he used to wear the turtleneck. That was his look. And we all want to look cool. Your nickname was Styles for a reason. You wanted to look good on the ice.
I did. I took pads. I took pads out of my girdle.
Absolutely.
I made sure that I had as little amount of padding as I possibly could. I didn't wear a mouth guard my entire career. I did things that, I didn't even think of wearing a face mask, right? But let's go to our first guest with Nick and see what maybe Nick has, and get maybe a different fan opinion of what just happened and what we saw. And because I'm sure this kid is getting a lot, and there he is. Look at Big Nick.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Hey, Nick, we're not going to get yelled at by your wife this time, are we?
Well, we're not, because I'm on travel for work. I'm down in Sunrise. I'm just sitting in my hotel room watching the Sabres game right now. So, no, we're not. But
there you go.
The house is
there you go.
Out there.
I'm representing Saberland this week. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, now the house is decorated. Everything just about is down. Halloween, Christmas is in full go. So yeah, we're rock and roll.
So you listen to Tim and I.
Yep.
As a fan watching from the outside, give us your impression of the Adam Johnson situation.
Well, honestly, when you guys were talking, I honestly hadn't even seen the play. So while you guys were talking, I was listening. I got on YouTube real quick, checked it out real fast.
Good.
And I definitely agree with you, JR. You could tell, did he get bumped? Sure. But the skate just, it was very weird how it just lunged at him or however you want to describe it. Just didn't seem like you said, like a hockey motion. Whether it was intended to be so or not, I don't think anybody maliciously goes out there and says, I want to do something to somebody. But at the
what's your opinion? What's your opinion? Do you think someday that someone's going to get is going to go to jail for something that they do on the field, the court, the ice? Is that possible?
I think it's kind of hard. Because right now, nobody really knows except maybe that guy. And I apologize. I don't know the guy's name off the top of my head. But I mean, is anybody really going to know unless he comes out and actually says it, like, yes, I maliciously intended to hurt somebody? I can't see it happening. Just because we can never take ourselves into the psyche of another person.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line.
I mean, unless there's like specific or distinct evidence that's out there that says, yeah, this guy, he decided that he wanted to do it, then I don't think that there is going to be.
Listen, that's good take. It's good take. I'm glad you looked at it and had an opinion. That's good. What do you got for us this week? You got anything for us this week?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, man. Heritage Classic. I didn't really watch too much of it. I'm a big football fan.
What's up with your Sabres, man? What's up with your Sabres? Like, why can't they find any kind of consistency? This team just boggles my mind because they look good one day and they look awful the next three.
So that was one of the topics I was going to talk about. So in your estimation, JR, so I don't understand like the defensive side of it. It seems like when we have a lead, we can't hold the lead. We're scrambling in our own end. Is that more of like a coaching issue? Is it the players need to, get their acts together and defend more or focus?
I'll tell you right now, and Peelsy, I'll be curious to hear what you say. You know what? Hey, Nick, I'm going to drop you and answer that question so we can continue with the show. I appreciate you being on, buddy. Thanks for doing that from being on the road. It's actually a good question, Peelsy, is why does a team look so good and all of a sudden they have the mojo going and then defensively they just break down? Is it coaching or is it the players? I think we all know that a lot of these teams are very well coached. Their systems are good. It comes down to the players' execution. It comes down to the players thinking and executing the way that they're taught in practice. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. But let's keep in mind, like, people are beating up Buffalo. They're two wins out of being in second place in the Atlantic Division.
That's because it's early in the year.
I know.
That's because early in the year. You can always say that, but they still have not been good.
Jared, they're 4-5. Tage Thompson hasn't even got going yet. They've got a great back end with Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power. Listen, they've got. I am not panicking on Buffalo the way
we're not panicking. We're not panicking, but we are critiquing the games that they have played this year. And they're. Do you not agree that the record should be better by the teams that they have played?
Yeah, no, I do. I agree with that for sure. But I think to your point, and Nick's point, it probably comes to inexperience on the back end. They've got some young defensemen back there. And, listen, I've got all the faith in Donnie Granato and his systems and so on. I don't necessarily agree with you when it comes to preparation. I think it just comes to experience. We're 10 games into the season. If we're still talking about this at game 18 and 20, then yes, we've got a problem with Buffalo.
All right. Well, it's good stuff. Nick always brings in some good stuff, doesn't he? He always brings in some
absolutely.
Good stuff. Speaking of playing some good hockey, there's two teams I want to hit before our guest comes in. Two teams that are just, one I think is a little bit more exciting than the other, but the LA Kings and the New York Rangers. Both teams are doing some amazing things right now, and nobody's really talking about them, Peelsy.
No, you know what? I watched the LA-Toronto game last night. I was looking forward to that game, and Drew Doughty loves to come back to Toronto. He loves it. Like a lot of these guys, they come to Toronto, they slide out the side door because they don't want to talk to the Toronto media. Drew is right there. He just loves it. He eats it up. When he's on the ice and I'm watching that game, he is the quarterback. He's in charge. He wants to be the man. And I read a quote from Todd McClellan. He said, every game I say this about Quentin Byfield. Man, that's the best game he's played so far. And he plays another game. His parents were at the game. He had two helpers. I think he was the first star. They've got a great team.
But didn't Doughty have 2 goals? Yeah, right.
I think I don't know if he had 2 goals, but they've got a great team. Like I'm telling you, that I think that was a statement game for LA to going into Toronto. A lot of the Toronto fans don't follow the Ducks and the Kings and the teams out west. I think that was a statement game by LA to say we're here and we're a good hockey team. And are they as good as Vegas? I don't know, but I'm telling you, I love that LA Kings team.
Yeah, I think they're very well coached, and I think they are full down the roster. They have 4 good lines. I think their defense is strong. I think their goaltending is definitely improved. I think Pierre-Luc Dubois, after going into Winnipeg and having a good game in Winnipeg, he's starting to play some good hockey. So look for him to be really amping up in terms of his comfort in LA, which is great.
JR, let me ask you this. They talked about it today because Toronto had just come back from a 4-game road trip. First game back, they say, they're never good. You're never good. How did you feel when you played? Because a stat I read today, which you might be surprised at, was actually the team that comes back from being on the road for 3 or 4 games, they win more games the first game back than they do the second, third, fourth game.
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
It's true. It
No.
is true. It is true. I read it.
No.
I'm telling you.
No.
I'm telling you.
When you come back off a long trip,
it's a misnomer.
Your first game back at home is awful.
Why?
It's awful.
Why?
You know why? Do you really want to know why? Because you're sleeping in your own bed now. You have distractions that are called kids. You have honeydew stuff that you need to do. All of a sudden, you go to bed and all of a sudden your wife wants to have some fun with you, so you have a little fun with her and you have fun together because you do marriage things. You go home, you do marriage things, and you get comfortable, and then you get back in, and another team comes in, and they're on the road, they're feeling good, and they just wipe you out. That's why.
I'm not buying it. I think it's a crock.
Are you kidding me? You listen. Your job for next week's show is to look at every team that comes off of a long road trip and sees what their first game back is in terms of the win-loss.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you,
okay,
you are going to be wrong on your win-loss percentage. They lose way more than they win coming off a long road trip.
No,
it is for sure. Right. But the New York Rangers, they're on a 5-game win streak, and they just went through the West Coast. And I think the Rangers are kind of taking it personally that nobody is talking about them either.
Well, it's funny because a week ago we talked about the Rangers, and you said, "What do you think of the Rangers?" I said, "It's like opening a flat can of soda. They do nothing for me." So what do they do in the last 7 days? They beat the Oilers, the Canucks, the Jets, the Flames, and the Kraken. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable to go out west and win 5 games. That just does not happen. You played in the NHL, Jerry. You know how tough it is to go out west, play those Western League teams with the time change and so on. For them to rattle off 5 wins is impressive. And you know why I think they are coming around is the number one reason is Peter Laviolette. Peter Laviolette. I love Gerard Gallant. I think Gerard Gallant's a great coach, but Gerard Gallant is a player's coach. He's that's what he is. Peter Laviolette is a systems coach, and they're now buying into his system. And the Ranger players.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I like Peter Laviolette. Always have. This is why he gets job after job in the league, because he is very, very good. And he needs a certain type of player to buy into his personality. Alex McNally, who I saw today earlier at my whiskey signing, who's a big Ranger fan. We talked about the Rangers before. He just jumped on and says, "Yeah, nobody's talking about us." Well, Alex, that's going to change. And people are starting to notice now. They have great goaltending. I mean, Shesterkin is arguably the best goaltender in the game. That their defense is stellar. They have great secondary scoring.
They've got Lindgren, Fox, Keandre Miller, Trouba, Gustafson, and Schneider on their back end. Like, they've got a good team. They
do. They do. And you know what? I thought they were going to go further into playoffs, and a lot of people picked them to possibly win the cup last year. They just had a little trip up in the beginning of the season. I think the Rangers are going to be very good this year, and I think they're kind of benefiting the fact that they're going under the radar right now.
And Jared, to your point, before we bring on Teemu, I'm a big Chris Drury fan. I think I loved him as a player. I think he's doing a great job as a GM. He brought in too many pieces at the end of the year. He brought in Kane, he brought in Tarasenko, he brought in 3 or 4 players, and all of a sudden you're bringing in 3 or 4 players. Somebody's got to sit, and I think it disrupted the chemistry of that team.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's something to be said about that. It's nice. It's nice to see Panarin playing so well. I mean, this kid is a lot of fun to watch. Zibanejad is always fun to watch. Kreider has established himself as a premier goal scorer in this league. There's no question.
I think he's had 8 or 10 20-goal seasons.
Yeah, well, listen, the kid's a sniper. I'm never going to say anything bad about Kreider ever again, because he has proven to me that he's putting in the work. So look for the Rangers to start really, really putting on a big push and making people open up their eyes on what's happening there. So, and how about the Anaheim Ducks?
You know what?
We're gonna get Teemu here on in a couple minutes when he pops on, and these guys are just unbelievable. This is the worst team in the league last year. They were the worst team in the league. They got the first pick, had the possibilities of the best first pick last year, and they started the season on a low note, and all of a sudden something sparked. So let's bring on the greatest Duck player of all time, Teemu Selanne. And I don't say that in disrespect to Paul Kariya, but Paul Kariya never scored 76 goals, especially in his rookie year. One of the best goal scorers in the history of the game. One of the best players in the history of the game. But PLZ, you know as well as I do, probably even more so, one of the best guys of the world. And it's that man right there.
Okay, boys.
Right there. It's Teemu Selanne.
What's up, boys?
One of my favorite people in the world. So listen, I was just with Teemu last week, and we always have fun together. And he was so generous to come on after his golf round today.
Well, I want to have somebody shot first, JR.
Oh my God! Right. First round that I have played bad in a month was today. Maybe I was too nervous to come to your show. So I got 81.
No. Hey, so Teemu and I are taking on Biz Nasty and Whitney in the Sandbagger in 2 weeks. So we have to make sure that we're ready for those turkeys at the Sandbagger.
I played with you, JR. I haven't had the pleasure of playing with Teemu, but I've seen Biz Nasty swing on TV or YouTube. His swing is, if you guys can't beat those 2 pigeons, then there's a real problem.
But I think Whitney is a good player, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, he's a stick, but Biz is not. I can see his swing.
So Teemu, we just mentioned the Ducks and how great the Ducks have been playing as of late. You watch them every night. You're there. You see them. You know their roster. What's changed?
Well, I think just the confidence and believe that they can win. Obviously, they have a young team also, and a lot of good young players. I don't think they're gonna have a great year, but it's an exciting team to watch, and that's what it's important for me, that the young guys grow up together. They go highs and lows together, and they're gonna find to build a good team chemistry together. And when those guys peak up same time, I think they're gonna have a great team for a long, long time.
Looking for Toronto, PLZ. Toronto's got 8 or 9 goals right now.
He's got 9 goals right now.
Oh my God! My God!
He's got a great shot though, Teemu, right?
Every line has been really good and exciting, and they found the chemistry, and they have grit, they have a speed, they have a toughness. Last year, I was worried about that. We have those skill players, but there's no toughness who can back them up, and I think we got that too. And we have two good goaltenders, and so there's a new mission for sure. And more, they look like they really want to compete and play well. That's so important that they look good and they wanna do well.
Teemu, how good is this Leo Carlsson? Because I haven't seen him play that much so far. How good is he?
Well, only bad thing he's from Sweden. No, he's gonna be a great player. You know, he's a big, strong guy who can really skate and move well. And you know, you never know how long it's gonna take to get in the grooves and used to this style of hockey. But what I have seen is it's a lot of potential there, and I think he's going to do great, and he's going to learn from those other young guys. I think they can push each other to be better every day, and hopefully they have a little bit competition as well. That who is going to do better while they all playing together. But you always want to hope and wish that they all play together, because that's going to help the team. But the good competition, there has to be a little bit like who is going to be the best one.
Okay, well, this is even more impressive, because this team is winning, and they're winning without their two top scorers in Zegras and what's his name?
There.
Yes, and yes, exactly. Scoring. Like, Zegras has 1 goal. I think he has three points, but yet this team is winning without their top guys leading the way. That's even more impressive.
Yeah, they have a depth so far, and and I always said that when you miss the training camp, it's gonna take another month to really kick in and get in the game shape, and that's what happened for Zegras. He was awaiting his contract things, and now I think it's gonna take for a little while. And now that they have that depth that the other guys can score too, makes this team so much more stronger. So I really like what I see so far. And like I said, my expectations are still a little bit lower than they should be. But I call them young and stupid still. But I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think one thing also, like, I don't think when they go to East Coast, I think some teams maybe take them a little lightly. They don't believe they can win, but they have been good surprise so far.
And you know what? I like this Greg Cronin so far, Teemu. I loved his passion the other night in Pittsburgh with that waved off goal. I didn't agree with it. It's the rule. If he goes in the crease, I get the whole thing. But I can see the players wanting to play for him. So, but listen, I want to bring up. We've got a couple questions for you. And we really appreciate you coming on. So I was talking to one of your old teammates today. He lives in St. Louis, where I live, Big Walt, Keith Tkachuk. and I was talking to him about you, and he's like, yeah, Teemu came over. And I said, you guys came up together, right? And he goes, kind of. He goes, I played 17 games the year before, so pretty much we were. And he goes, he comes in, scores 76 goals. And I said, how did he do that back then? Like, with all the hooking and holding and so on. And he said, Peelsy says, there were 3 other players that I saw that could skate like Teemu. Was Fedorov, Bure, and Modano. And he said, and Phil Housley would find you slashing up the middle, and Phil would throw the puck from the end zone and put it right on your tape. Is that how it went down with Phil?
Absolutely. First of all, you know, luckily we didn't have a so good team, so I could play in the first power play in the first line right away. So, but like you said, the Housley was the biggest factor for that season. You know, he was like a quarterback back there, and I knew that if I get open, the puck is going to come. He was unbelievable vision, how you see his teammates and line mates, and his IQ is one of the best I ever seen, and the chemistry what we had, it was just outstanding. And of course, there was like a Shamnov and Keith himself and Thomas Dean. We have a lot of good players, but I think Phil Housley was by far the biggest factor for me.
Yeah, but my problem, Teemu, is how do you score 76 in the first season, and then you can't do it again the rest of your career? What's going on with that? You got your best year in the first season of your career.
Hey, I told everybody that I'm the only person in NHL that career went down after first year.
Well, you can't set the bar so high, my friend. Like, honestly,
I was stupid.
God.
I was stupid.
I don't
Well,
know if you were stupid or not, but
when you got drafted by Winnipeg, you must have been like, "Where is Winnipeg?" And I've been to Finland years ago. The NHL had a few exhibition games there, and I was in Helsinki. But I also went up to Tampere. Is it Tampere?
Yeah, Tampere.
Yeah. And I think the whole time I was in Finland, it was cloudy and dreary. And I'm like, well, Teemu would fit right in going from Finland to Winnipeg, and it must not have been a big adjustment for you going there.
It was almost same. I think that Finland is still a winter time, a little more darker, but the same shit, you know. And but the good thing is that your focus is only for hockey. There's no distractions or anything else. You just live and eat with hockey. And the Winnipeg people, the fans, oh my God, they were just outstanding. I have so much love for those people. And it was. I always said I'm so lucky I started there. 4 years there, it made me super happy.
well, you've played with a lot of great players, and you've had a lot of fun things that have happened to you. But there's got to be something that stands out in Teemu Selanne's mind, because I know how fun you are, my friend. I'm with you a lot. You and I are very close friends. I know you love to have fun, and I know you love being in the locker room. You loved your teammates. There's got to be something, a funny story that happened to you, something that you witnessed, an encounter that you had with somebody. There's got to be a funny story that you tell over and over again that happened in your career with somebody special. I would love to hear something that comes to your mind of a good Teemu Selanne story.
Well, there's a lot of good stories. My first year, you know, we always talk about how big a head Ty Domi has, and one practice, I put the big bucket in my head. We were in LA, and I put 20. His number was 20, so I put 20 in the back, and I put 2 holes in the big bucket, and I go on the ice. I went to last, so he didn't see me. And when he saw that, he started chasing.
Was it a
me
trash
around.
can? Was it a trash can?
He was but not that big. But I think it was a bucket, but all the pucks were, you know, a big
Oh,
puck,
yeah,
bucket.
the puck bucket.
Oh my God!
Luckily, I was way faster than him. He couldn't catch me because I think he would absolutely kill me.
That is one of the funniest things That is hilarious.
But another story is about Paul Kariya. I have a million stories about Paul Kariya. And when I came to Anaheim, we were roommates for 3 years, and you know, he has so many routines. You know, he went to bed East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter, 10 o'clock. And he always put the mouth guard and wrist guards on before he went to bed. And I asked, why do you put the wrist guards on? He said, well, I slept one time bad, and you know, I didn't want to take any chance. I'm okay. So then we went to Phoenix for one game, and I took my boys' little shin pads with me. I put in my back, and then when it was time to go to bed, I started putting those shin pads on and taped them on. And Paul said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Oh, you know, one time I slept bad. I hit my knee in the bed, so I don't want to take a chance." So he didn't talk to me a couple of days, but I think that was.
Oh my God!
That's one of the best stories I have ever heard in my pro career. We talked, Jay and I talked about having Ty on because that story about the bucket is hilarious.
And then I have one more story. We are in somewhere, I forgot, it was not really typical hockey city, but me and Paul, we always check in the hotel, different names. I was Teddy Flash, and he was Tony Montana. So then we had one.
I was Fred Flintstone.
Is that because your head so big?
Yeah.
So then we had some team bonding night. We came like 3 o'clock back in the hotel in the morning, and so then I lost my key. So I go to the front desk and I said, "Can I get the new key?" And he said, "What's your name?" So I thought, "Yeah, do you have ID?" And I showed him my ID. I said, "But I'm not in my real name. I'm in Teddy Flash." And this girl didn't let me get the new key, and I tried to like back and forth. The manager comes. I said, I'm part of the Ducks team here. My name is Teemu Selanne, but I'm under Teddy Flash. they didn't give me a key, so I had to call our PR guy who comes with the pajamas down there and said, "Yeah, he's one of us," you know. So there's a lot of good stories about good old days.
Well, so Teemu, we gotta tell JR this story, and you may have forgot it, but I know you'll remember it quickly. Because JR, this is the longest we've been on with Teemu for 15 minutes. This is the longest I've ever been around him without him yelling at me. Okay, so no big deal. Teemu's only played in 6 Olympics, right? Teemu, am I right? 6?
Yeah.
So the last one is in Russia in 2014. JR, you were there with as a broadcaster. Teemu was there as a player, and I was there as a ref. And I'm fortunate enough I get picked to work the bronze medal game between USA and Finland. And the first period, Kane's on a breakaway, gets wiped out, boom, penalty shot. Now, a few minutes later, like literally within the next 4 or 5 minutes, Kane's on another breakaway. Someone breaks his stick. So I call 2 penalty shots in favor of the US against Finland. Teemu comes over. And I cannot, because JR and I don't swear in the show, Teemu. Okay, so we're like, and he comes over, and you are like, your eyes are popping out, you're spitting. I thought you might hit me over the head with your stick, and you're just like going, and I'm like, so if that was back in North America, I'd tee you up, I'd give you a 10, whatever. But I'm like, okay, PLZ, this is his last Olympics. This is the bronze medal game. You've got to eat a pile of shit right now and take everything that Teemu's given you. And I'm like, sorry, but this is the way it is. And you guys went on to win that game 5-0. And I think you scored 2 goals in that game.
Yes. And you know what? I still feel sorry for all the referees because I had a big mouth, and you know what? It's somehow I felt that, you know, if I was a little sleeper at the game, when I was yelling to referees, I always played better. So.
Well, but JR, the best part of the story is, so we're at this hotel afterwards, and here comes Jarmo Kekalainen and Kimmo Timonen and Teemu Selanne, and everyone's coming in, and we're drinking beers, and Teemu gives me a big hug. He's like, PLZ, and we're drinking beers till 5 a.m. And I go, you might be the biggest front runner I've ever known. I said, 4 hours ago, you literally wanted to kill me. And is your wife's name Serpa?
Yes.
Serpa. 2 days later, we're getting on the flight back to North America, and she comes up to me. I swear to God, she comes up to me. She goes, Tim, I'm so sorry for how Teemu acted to you on the ice. I said, it's all good. But that's the great thing about hockey is that is the unbelievable thing about hockey, how you can be so mad at each other and just give it to each other, and then afterwards have beers and laugh about it and joke about it. And that's the great thing about our sport.
Exactly. And you know what? Sometimes it's hard to understand how high emotions and how much heat there is during the games and different situations. And that's why I really respect and appreciate those referees who could actually, like you said, that not to get mad and understand that situation and that moment, that, you know what, it's a tough one. So that's what separates the best referees, I think.
Well,
I apologize.
No, I don't want you to apologize. I don't want. So, but the thing was that Anaheim team that you guys had, you had Getzlaff, you had Perry, you had on the back end, I'm trying to think, Pronger. And guys that were really tough, like they would grind me every shift. Like Chris lives here in St. Louis, and I joke with Prongs. I go, Prongs, I could have given you a penalty on every shift. I just tried to pick which one was worse than the other. but that team back then, you guys were tough to officiate because you had a lot of strong personalities. But Ryan Getzlaff, I know how much you love Getsy. Him and I had a lot of FU battles on the ice. I mean, a lot. And my last year, we were in Colorado, and I went over to him because I have so much respect for him. And I said, hey, buddy, I'm not going to see you again. This is the end of my career. I'm retiring in a month. And he stood up on the bench, and he gave me a hug. And I go, thanks, Getsy. That's the type of guy he is, right? Like, just hockey people are the best. I love it.
By far, and like you said, we battle hard, and sometimes we go to overboard, but in the end, we are all friends and the same family.
Well, there's no question. I know who one of my best friends is, and it's you, Mr. Teemu Selanne. I love you. I love you more than anything in the world. I love that you joined us today. Thank you. I know you had a bad golf round today. You could have blown us off, but you didn't.
I'm still happy.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, we are playing the Sandbagger, the Spittin' Chicklets guys. We're playing Biz and Wits in 2 weeks. Go get your golf game ready, and we need to give those guys a beating. Okay, buddy?
Do you have to give them strokes in this, or like how's it? Oh, yes. God.
There will be strokes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to beat them for sure.
I think we got to give Biz like 30 strokes. He's not going to take it, but I think we have to. Listen, if we let a guy who scored 3 or 4 goals in his entire career beat over 1,100 goals, we're in big trouble.
You're right.
Teemu, I love you. Teemu, I love you.
Hey.
Thanks for joining, buddy.
Hey.
And I'll see you in a couple weeks. Okay, buddy?
All the best, guys. Love you.
Hi to Serpa. Hi to
Thanks for
Serpa.
coming on, buddy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's the best, buddy.
Like seriously,
Hey.
Does it get any better?
It does not, man. Like he's just like I can see why I'm envious why you're such good friends with him, because he's just such a tremendous guy. And he's always been like that. Like his teammates loved him. Everybody loved him. He's just a good person, right? Like
he's a great person. He literally from the heart is kind. And I always say people from Finland, they eat nice pills. They grow up eating nice pills. All of them. You meet anybody from Finland, they're always so gracious. They're always so kind. They're fantastic. They're just, and Teemu leads the charge, right? He leads the charge. It's just an amazing man. He's, and he's into everything. He's into tennis. He's a big F1 guy. He actually raced cars for like 10 or 15 years, which is crazy. I mean, literally create the off tracks. I can't remember the name of the racing league that he was in, but this guy is a car racing junkie.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, car racing junkie. So thanks for Teemu Selanne for coming on Snipes and Stripes here on nofilter.net. We got about 8 minutes left here. So one, I want to get to, if you have one more thing you want to talk about, and then we got to get to our picks, because last week we sucked. And we have Bet Online is relying on us to give good picks for this week. So what do you got?
You know what? I wanted to touch on your old buddy, Rick Tocchet. And you know how much I love Toc. He's one of the best guys in the business. And he's got his Canucks in second place in the Pacific, 6-2-1. And I just want to touch on with you, obviously Elias Pettersson's having a great year. JT Miller, the Hughes kid, they're getting good goaltending from Demko. But I think Tocchet's got to get a lot of credit for this. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because, one thing I know about Toc is all he wants is a good effort. He just wants a good effort. He wants guys to go out there and play the game hard. He wants the guys to play the system properly. He wants everybody to be free within their system to play the style of game that they play. Now, if you have the puck with Toc, do whatever you want. If you don't have the puck, get your ass back and protect the net. That's it. Give yourself an honest effort. Give an honest effort. Be yourself. A lot of players today want to be creative. They want to play their own game, Peelsy. They want to use what got them to the National Hockey League to make them better on the ice. And I don't think a couple of the coaches that have been in Vancouver over the last little while, I think Greeny was awesome there. Travis Green got screwed in Toronto. He did an amazing job, and they disrespected Travis Green by firing him when Travis actually put him on the map. Then all of a sudden there was a period there where they nobody can motivate them. If you can't get motivated by Rick Tocchet, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, those players, when they come in off that ice and they have to look at that mug, at that Rick Tocchet face, at that Rick Tocchet jaw, at that Rick Tocchet body, and say, holy crap, I'm playing for this guy.
Exactly.
He brings a mentality of work. He brings a mentality of commitment. and responsibility and accountability. And that's what Rick Tocchet brings. But he gives it to the players to decide.
Exactly.
And they have been so good. I mean, Hughes has been amazing. Besser's been amazing. Pettersson's been amazing. JT Miller's been great. I knew they had more talent and they were underachieving, and they just needed somebody to just let them go and do the things that they do and put less restrictions on the opposite side and just have fun playing. And Rick Tocchet's a fun guy, Peelsy. You know him, right?
Oh my God, he's awesome. And you know what? You can't pull the players have no heart or they didn't put in the effort. You can't pull that card too often during the season, but he pulled it after the game in Philadelphia when they got beat in Philadelphia, a game that they should win. And he's that type of coach. He's going to stay it the way it is. And to your point, how do you look at Rick Tocchet and say, yeah, I gave 110% tonight. He's going to go like, no, you didn't. Like, not a chance you did. So I'm happy for him. I love him personally. I know he's a former teammate of yours, and I just wanted to bring up Vancouver's success so far.
Yeah, that's a great point. And let's hope talk continues. And I know our boss and our partner Joe Manuel wants us to talk about Montreal. 5-2-2. Okay, Joe, we'll talk about them next week. That'll be our conversation for next week. But there's not too many people down here in the States really care about Montreal, even though we do, Joe. We do. They are les habitants, but we'll talk about them. Okay, we need to get to our picks in the last couple minutes here for Bet Online. I'm going to go with a couple. I'm going to give everybody a couple sleepers, maybe a couple of good price bets. Florida at Detroit tomorrow. Detroit is an underdog at home. I think they really disappointed me last week and didn't play up to standard. And I think let their success get to their head. They got a tough Florida team coming in tomorrow, and I think they're going to wake up and have a big game tomorrow. They're actually an underdog at home, so I like Detroit at home. I also like the Rangers at home against Carolina. Rangers on a high. And the reason why I'm saying this right now is because I'm going to test your theory about coming off a long road trip and seeing how they play first game. And if they lose, I'm going to blame this game, the New York Rangers at -113. If they lose, it's all your fault, Mr. Tim Peel. And my highest pick, so my best money odds pick for tomorrow is going to be Columbus over the Tampa Bay Lightning at home. So that's going to be my long range pick.
This week. Okay, well listen, I'm going to ride the McDavid train for the next couple games. I think after watching him come back, I watched the Heritage Classic against Calgary. I think as bad a start as Edmonton got off to, they're at home to Dallas tomorrow night, which is going to be a really, really good test for Edmonton. But I'm picking Dallas tomorrow night. Then I'm also picking Buffalo at home on Friday to Philadelphia. I think the Sabres are going to bring it around. And then on Saturday, my last pick was, and I lost it here, was well, I guess I'm not going on the limb here, but I'm picking Pittsburgh and San Jose. San Jose is 0-9, and I guarantee if you bet against San Jose all year, you'll probably make a lot of money.
Yeah, San Jose is on pace to have the worst record in the history of the National Hockey League. I don't hope it happens. I hope it does not happen.
No.
But right now, that's on their pace. So, hey, Peelsy, that's pretty awesome. What a great show. And I just want everybody to remember, Bet Online, one of our favorite companies in the world, our sponsor, with NHL, NFL, college, UFC, NBA, no matter what it is, Bet Online is your source for your odds, for your predictions, for whatever you need betting. Bet Online is where you go. Bet Online, where the game starts, and it better be where my bank account starts going up. So, and obviously my Whiskey in the Wild. So, hey, thanks to Teemu Selanne. Thanks to all of our listeners, everybody that was on the chat line, all of our guests. What a great show, Timmy. Way to bring it again this week.
It was great, buddy. You know what? Like we both said, Teemu was the best. It was great having him on tonight. But a lot of great stories going on in the NHL, and I look forward to next week, pal.
Yeah, me too. And again, our hearts and all of our prayers go out to Adam Johnson family. It's a terrible tragedy. We will all remember him. And that does it for another edition of Snipes and Stripes right here on nofilter.net. We will see you again next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. It's been a blast, everybody. Thanks for joining. Take care.